Hi everyone, it's Dr. E and I'm here with your week 7 instructional video. As you can tell, spooky season is upon us, so this is me dressing up and enjoying this time of year. I'm Rosie the Riveter, right? This is the Leslie Knope from Parks and Recreation version, but you get it. So anyhow, I love this time of year. So let's go ahead and jump right into D2L so I can kind of walk you through where to go and what to do this week, which is a pretty tame week. I'll admit. I think we originally had a journal that was going to be due this week, but I didn't want the journals to be about this because I always assign that, and so I wanted to change it up a little bit, so I've moved the journal and I updated the schedule. I'll actually go ahead and post the schedule here, but it's one of those things where I just adjusted a bit because it seemed like a lot to do this week to add a journal. So anyhow, so this week you're going to read What Americans Can Learn from Other Food Cultures, which is by Amy Choi. That is an article that is posted here. It's also posted in the book and additional readings module, so you can access that. It's a really great article, again, bringing back that kind of theme of food into the conversation while we also think about the writing and adding to what we talked about last week, right? We thought about quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing, and giving credit and avoiding plagiarism, all of those kinds of things that are really necessary when it comes to academic writing, right? We want to make absolutely sure that our audience understands that some of the information in our writing comes from these different sources. We're pulling them in to support our ideas. We're not just writing our opinions. We're not just writing, out of the blue. We are actually using concrete sources to support our ideas, right? So those chapters really help with that, as does this one, because it's about how we, in a world that is just overrun with data and information, everything is at our fingertips when it comes to, research or reliable sources. How can we muddle through and find reliable sources when it comes to our writing and when it comes to information in general, right? I mean, I'm sure a lot of us have come upon a website that looks really legitimate. It looks very professional, but it is chock full of information that is not accurate, information that perhaps is out of date. We have to think about who benefits from that, right? Who is publishing, these ideas? What are their biases? What, that kind of thing. What are our own biases as readers? So this chapter really goes into the ideas of how we weed out the misinformation to try to find the factual kind of research that is beneficial to us in our college writing, yes, but overall, in general is helpful as well. So we're thinking about that and thinking about that in relation to Amy Choi's article, which is really great. What I really want to emphasize to you, though, is that Amy Choi is a really great example. Her article is a really great example of using sources to support our ideas. She is bringing in this quote, she's bringing in this idea. So as a reader, you have to be very engaged and active in the reading so that you, when it comes to your mind map, are giving the proper credit, right? You are not just crediting everything you find to Amy Choi, because chances are you found a quote that's really important and really connected to what you want to identify as a main idea, but it is by Jennifer A. Lee, or it is by any of the other sources that she utilizes. She not only uses direct quotes to support her ideas, she also mentions and paraphrases their ideas. So again, you have to actively engage and make sure that you are properly assigning credit, right, when it comes to pulling quotes from this text, because there are a lot of really great quotes. She has a ton. Some of them are hers. My cat Familiar has come to visit. Some of them are hers, but she, there also may be information from her outside sources that she uses to support her ideas, just like we would do with academic writing, right? Okay. So you do have a mind map. Again, I've set the due date for that on Thursday, but it's just my suggestion. It's me saying it would be a really good idea if you submitted this on Thursday and got it out of the way, and then you have time for other things. But we're actually going to, think of it as ultimately a due on Sunday assignment, and it has that grace period. And then you have your participation quiz, right? You're watching what will appear here. You have your mind map, which these assignments don't necessarily change, it's just the source that changes, right? So instead of a chapter in our book, we are actually using the mind map to think about choice writing. And this is a lot of information, so take your time to read it because it's bringing in information from the MLA help video, which you may want to review based solely on the idea that you need to approach this article this week with some, very specific MLA things in mind, right? Giving that credit. So I also have pulled information and examples from Choi's work because, again, I cannot stress enough that this is the article that breaks me a lot of times as a professor, as a writing instructor, but it also breaks students, right? Because it can feel very overwhelming to try to give credit. It breaks me because when I grade it, I get frustrated because I'm going, but it's a quote that she uses. It shows the quotation marks that she's put in there. So it's not her words. We can't give her credit. We need to credit the person who actually said that. And the way to do it is here. Okay. And I've given you notes. This is also information that you can easily find in the table of contents. We have the MLA help module, right? So it has citing sources, MLA quoting and examples specifically using Choi as the the MLA video. So I'm trying to make sure that you are not going in blind to some of these assignments, and I'm not just expecting you to immediately know MLA formatting and all that kind of stuff. That's why I am again warning you to be engaged as a reader. Right? Be engaged, know whose ideas you might be citing when it comes to choosing those main ideas for Choi's work in the mind map this week, and give credit where credit is due. All right, you also have a participation quiz, right? So you need to know that I am dressed as Rosie the Riveter. I also have a few notes this week. One of them is that I've noticed this more lately, and this happens pretty regularly. I'm having trouble sometimes when I'm using Chrome, right? Chrome is the best browser to use when it comes to D2L, full stop, period, end of discussion. We get this reminder all of the time from our IT department, and people use Chrome. It is the easiest, when it comes to D2L. Because if you use other browsers, especially something like Safari, I'm a Mac user, so I use Safari for a lot, but for this, I'm using Chrome. But sometimes it'll look as though things are timing out or things aren't working properly, and that is just because you need to delete your browsing data. So if you don't know how to do that, don't worry, you can Google it and find videos to help you do that. It's a pretty quick process, but you may need to do that repeatedly if you feel as though D2L is lagging a little bit. The next thing I want to make sure that you're thinking about is that I really feel as though so much of a course such as this, 99% of your grade ends up just being you actively participating every week, you logging in, you asking questions if you have them, you completing the work, right? So much of it, yes, it's about writing. It's about, honing our writing skills. It's about gaining confidence in our writing, getting feedback, all of that kind of stuff, yes. But the way to do that is to make sure that you are just doing the work, right? So much of your grade is just dependent on you submitting the assignments, right? You don't have to be a perfect writer. That's not what this course is about. This course is not about just teaching you from zero how to write. It's about strengthening those muscles, right? Remember, I usually use this example. Beyonce didn't wake up one day and decide, oh, I'm going to be Beyonce. No, she spent years and years and years practicing, dance practice, she hustled, right? You can think of athletes in the same way. Serena Williams did not wake up one day and think, I'm going to be an incredible tennis star, right? Or any of the other kinds of people you admire for their athleticism or their ability to sing or their acting or their writing, right? Nobody wakes up with that in mind and just is successful. It's about the practice. Malcolm Gladwell, who's, an author amongst various other things, He wrote a book that's all about the fact that in order to be an expert in your chosen area, you have to put in 10,000 hours. Do I expect you to put 10,000 hours into writing or into MLA and learning MLA? No. But I expect that this class will help you find the answers you may be looking for as you are writing. Or I do expect that the practice we put into the writing really helps with all the other ways that we can improve. And we're always improving, right? I've been doing this a long time, and I find that I improve the more that I write as well. So just some things to keep in mind, because I know that I'm getting some panicked emails about, the writing, and oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this in my, sometimes it's just about just get the work in. Even if the work is ugly, just get it in. You've practiced some writing, even if it's not your best, that's okay, right? We're slowly and steadily going to improve as we move through the semester. So hopefully this eases somebody's mind out there. So anyhow, I appreciate y'all. I wish you good luck this week. Just let me know what you need.